Hello there, my name is Linda, also known as Tortajala around the internet, and I love creative journaling and all things stationery. And this month I'm participating in Junk Journal July, and I thought it would be fun to share a weekly update on the pages I've created for the challenge. So I am working in my Moleskine 18-month daily diary. It is the large size, so it's like an A5 Slim. And normally in this journal, I basically do daily sort of art journaling or writing or sticking in ephemera. Pretty much anything goes in this journal. It's just to simply to like keep me creating something, anything, even if it's only like 2 minutes. And maybe some days I will, miss and have to catch up. But the idea is to like have this space where there are no rules and I'm able to just practice my creativity in one way or another just to keep going. So for the opening spread of this challenge, I decided to use the last 2 pages of June to prep. And so I've printed out the prompts. And this challenge was created by Meg Journals here on YouTube and on Instagram. She hosts Junk Journal January and Junk Journal July. So it happens 2 times a year. And I have been following her for a while, and I've done this challenge probably multiple times. And if you didn't know, it's basically a challenge where she issues these prompts and you can follow along. And she also invites other artists to make videos and share their inspiration and interpretation of the prompts day by day. So effectively, it's like a free art journaling class, like all month long. So you can find the old playlist here on YouTube and go back and like do the other like previous years and things like that. And definitely follow the tag on Instagram, and you can see what everybody has been doing. And even though I'm like mostly consistent with my journaling practice anyway, but it's always fun to jump into a challenge and go along with prompts to sort of like create, together with other people collectively and post on Instagram. If you follow me on Instagram, Tortajala, you might have seen these pages before, but they're probably like they weren't totally finished what I posted on Instagram, because what I do is I usually try to get something done on the day of the prompt itself, and that's what I post on Instagram. But oftentimes I go back and I finish up the page, like I add journaling or I add, just something else as the days go by. So here in this flip, I would consider these pages more or less complete for me because I've already gone back over the days and I've added the tidbits or whatever final touches I felt like adding. So in this opening page, you can see it's just like a big collage of elements around the prompt list. I've just used whatever was in my stash, and I've been taking out like stickers and stamps and bits of papers and things and telling myself that I need to use them because I basically have a lot of supplies and I really need to like bust the stash kind of thing. So this opening page is just, free for all collage kind of thing. Now, the first actual page of the challenge, the first word prompt was spark. So I wanted to have like an overarching kind of theme for all of my pages in the month because of the fact that I already do daily journaling, so it is already like one-offs, every day. So for this particular challenge, I just wanted to pick a theme and try to like tie it all together if possible. So obviously creativity is very general as well, but I just thought I wanted some kind of umbrella to put everything and see if that would work. And we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. I wasn't strict on myself or anything. It's just an idea. So that's why the first day I actually wrote out like the question using the prompt word. What can help spark your creativity? So I made this collage using printables from my Ko-fi membership. And I have this top 5 list here to sort of answer the question that I have posed. And so if you're looking for some journal inspiration, I would suggest 1, looking through old journals, 2, sifting through your supplies because that can always spark ideas, 3, getting a nice drink or yummy snack because that can always help, 4, playing music or videos that inspire you, and finally 5, to just like glue something down on the page, because oftentimes I feel like I have no mojo, no ideas, but if I just start moving my hands and doing something step by step, it'll lead somewhere. You know what I mean? It might not be a masterpiece, but I am always happier and more satisfied having done something, having created something on the page, than sitting around and brooding about, not being creative. So that was day one. For day two, the prompt was postcard, and I immediately thought to send a postcard to my creative self. So I just sort of drew out like a template with a marker, like faux postcard template, wrote to my creativity, asking it to come forth, basically. So really simple, and then I went maybe a bit too crazy with the stamping, but again, I'm just trying to use my stash and what I have around me. Now, on to day three, the prompt was fold, and I just put down some pattern paper I printed out previously, and then I put a bunch of stickers on top, and with the vellum, I wrote out this sort of prompt of how to fold or to fold creativity into everyday life. And this idea just came to me because I happened to be making a cake that day, and I had to whip the egg whites and mix it into the batter. And you know how you have to be careful to not over mix, and you have to fold it in so you don't lose the air and the fluffiness, which was the point of whipping the egg whites. So basically, I was just using that as an analogy in my mind of how it relates to like folding creativity into your life. You have to be intentional about it and make sure it sort of mixes properly into your life. So I was just journaling about those thoughts on the page, because I think that we all have little pockets of time throughout the day. But the problem is, how do you fill them up with things that sort of work with your life? Because you can't just utilize all of it for creativity, right? If you mix things up like too much, it could be like a huge mess. It has to somehow fold into your life and retain the joy, right? Like, it can't be a chore. It can't be just like an item in your to-do list. It has to be something you're really looking forward to doing. So again, all those thoughts, and that's what I was journaling about. On to the next day, day four was labels, and I immediately thought to use these colored labels that I already had in my stash. You can download the designs, by the way, they're totally free on my blog, and I just printed them on sticker paper and cut them out, so I already had a bunch ready to go. So under this umbrella theme of creativity, I was thinking about how we give ourselves labels as creatives a lot of the times, and also just as people, like our roles in life. What are the labels we put on ourselves? And jumping off that idea, I just sort of used all the labels on the page and journaled a bit, like pondering about, is it good or bad? Labels are great for categorizing and organizing, but when does it become like limiting, right? So that's what this page was about. And when I posted this on Instagram, I hadn't really filled in all the labels yet, but now I have. And okay, for the next day, day five, the prompt was lettering, and I definitely didn't have time to do much on this day. And I just went literal. I was just practicing lettering with some colored pencils that I had on hand. And I suppose it looks a little empty. I don't know. Because I'm usually very, Baroque, right? Like, I keep adding things and want to fill up the whole page. But I was just thinking back to like old school days when we would learn like bubble letters and things like that. It was such a trend. But yeah, I don't have skills like in lettering at all. I'm just too lazy to practice. But I do like seeing other people who have like beautiful calligraphy, wonderful lettering. It's so pretty. But this is the extent of my capabilities. So next day, the prompt was wildlife, and I immediately thought about field notes and specimen cards and that whole like vintage vibe. In my mind, I feel like it's a thing, even though I can't fully describe it. But I used some old book paper for the bookground, and then I drew in a template that's like a field note kind of, entry where you would go out and collect a plant or something and record it in your book. So I thought I would find like a flower or a leaf or something outside and eventually add it to this page, but it never happened in the next couple of days. So when I came back, I decided to just add some die cuts that I had from Tenfall Art. So it's all like wildlife things, and I think it turned out nice. It's just like a simple collage page. Next day, 7, the prompt was window, so I decided to use this cutout of a window, like an actual window, and it's actually a drawing by Erin Ware. She has an Etsy shop, and she's also on YouTube and Instagram, and she creates like journaling printables. So you can buy them from her Etsy shop, print them out, and then cut them out to collage into your journal. So I already had this, so I paired it with a bunch of papers in my stash. The pink Love Is Out There is a free art print from my blog. And then I just have a bunch of like tags and papers and things that I collaged together and just like wrote down some words about looking like outward, like out a window, but also looking inward and, just thinking about that. So day 8, the prompt was observe, and I wasn't really able to do anything on this day. So I was playing catch up, and then I thought I would like observe other artists and take inspiration from what they created for that day. But in the end, I just ended up journaling my thoughts about like observing myself and my creativity and the relationship that I have with it, and that's it. It's just straight journaling. On the right hand side here, I do have a strip of Traveler's Notebook washi tape because it was a scrap from like another thing that I was doing and I didn't want to throw it away, so I just added it here. Now, for day 9, the prompt was scraps, so I literally used scraps from the day. Lots of stickers that my daughter gave me because she knows I journal, and quite often she will make me something and wait for me to like add it into my journal. But in this case, she actually made me like a little gift, like blind bag or something. It had a bunch of little tidbits in it and stickers. So I'm just collaging in basically scraps from the day, like ephemera, stickers, washi that was on the package, and papers and things like that. And then for day 10, the prompt was thread. And I went into my embroidery box and just took out some sewing thread that was all mixed up and trapped it under this vellum to sort of make like a little pocket. And on the top it says, "It's such a mess." And on the bottom it says, "It's so creative." So my thought was just about how creative work is so subjective, right? Like one could judge harshly and say it's a mess, and another could say it's amazing or cool or whatever, and it really depends on your perspective. So by the way, this page, it looks a little crazy because the stamping I did on the next day actually seeped through, and that's why it looks like even messier, which I suppose fits with the whole thing. I should have known because moleskin paper does not take stamping and it bleeds, but yeah, I just got carried away. So that's this page, and the next page is the prompt was stamps, and that's why I was rubber stamping. So I just basically opened my rubber stamp drawer and used all my stamps to make like a collage with stamps, and that's it. And I did write a bit about stamps, like the interpretation of the word stamp, if it could be rubber stamping or postage stamps or like putting your stamp on a project, those kinds of things. But yeah, literally it's just creating a collage of stamps and seeing if it could be like one cohesive, page image. So those are the pages I have created so far, and I'm making this video the first week today because I think it works out perfectly if I do it every Thursday, because the last video will be like right after the day after the month ends, so that would work out perfectly to review like all the pages I've created for the month. So you can see after these days, like I kept the idea of creativity on my mind, but sometimes I just took the prompt literally, so sort of connected, sort of not. I don't know. We'll see how it goes in the rest of the month. So thank you so much for watching and listening to me ramble about my journal pages. If you are participating in Junk Journal July, please don't hesitate to drop a link to your YouTube or your Instagram down below, because I really would love to see your pages and cheer you on as well. As always, let me know down in the comments if you have any questions or feedback. I would love to hear from you. And by the way, if you love journaling and you like digital printables, I am building my community on Ko-fi. You could check out the link in the description to find out more, but basically, if you join my Ko-fi membership, you get all the digital printables I post on the feed to download and print. You can also buy one-off designs in the shop. Of course, you can also go to my blog, tortajala.com, for totally free printables. You can download some pattern papers and try it out in your next journal page. Thanks so much for watching and supporting me here. I really appreciate it. And until next time, bye!